Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing just fine. Hopefully everybody's doing good. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. Welcome back to another pre-market watch list where we're going to talk about a couple things moving here this morning within the stock market. See if we can't get ahead of some moves. All right, so we're going to wait a little bit here till the stream populates. We get a couple more people in here, and then we'll go to rock and roll. Swing Trader, yes, I do use OBS. I also have XSplit, but I haven't used XSplit in a while. XSplit, I think, is like $50 a year. Haven't used XSplit in quite some time, but I feel like I like it more, but then again, I haven't used it in a long time. Mr. Joker, first I'd be on the side of buying OSTK, then I'd be on the side of selling. So it's kind of like playing both sides right now. All right, so I'm going to get into sharing the screen here. We'll take a look at a couple things, and then any stocks that you guys want to take a look at, we should get a second to, because today's more of a slower day from what I'm feeling. You know, maybe that's just what I like to look at. It feels slow, but I don't think we're going to get a super crazy volatile day. So today should be an early day in the market to call it quits on trading. Really just try and hop in, get the money before about 10:30, and then take off for the rest of the day in terms of trading. Yeah, new setup, a couple new things. So let's get into it. All right, give me a second here. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. First thing we might as well talk about is the one stock that I'm watching, and I also have a small position in it already. That's OSTK. So currently I have about $124 on it. You know, that could obviously be more or less depending on how the rest of this pre-market trading session goes. We've seen it push up to a high of 27.35 just on probably one random purchase. So somebody bought, 100. It looks like somebody bought 300 shares here at 27.35. So they're going to be down almost, $300, $400, $500 this morning as it starts to decrease and roll over a bit. But anywhozer, so OSTK had a really good earnings report on, Friday. So, I ended up getting in long. I think it was like right here. And getting in long here on this dip, close to here. But anyways, the reason I did is when you take a look at the daily chart, I mean, this is an extremely bullish move and bullish setup. I mean, if you look at the stock, right, it kind of pushes up, pulls back, earnings report, ton of volume coming in, and it's a super solid, good bullish candle. It kind of reminds you of GLD when I said GLD was extremely bullish here. On this bullish engulfing candle, I was like, this is really bullish. Should probably buy more. And I did, and now we're getting this nice trending move up. So kind of the same scenario I was looking at with OSTK. Now, of course, OSTK isn't like gold, so of course there is some differences there. But if you look at OSTK, it's very similar. I mean, this one candle engulfs 1, 2, 3, almost 4 there. 5, 6, 7, like 7 of these candles. This whole consolidation moment, like this candle engulfs like 7 days of trading. So when I seen this move and I took a look at it, I go, wow, this is extremely bullish. This is worth buying at least some. Keep it relatively small for now. And I hope it doesn't just completely dump out pre-market or during the trading day. That would suck, but anyways, still long OSTK, and I think this is a decent one to keep on your watch list long bias even after this earnings report move. It might pull back today, whether I sell or don't, doesn't really matter to me. I've already made money on it. So still following OSTK. I like the daily chart and the 4-hour setup. I mean, not this candle, but the 4-hour setup tended to be very bullish looking. I figure we probably get some continuation off the move. So OCK, not bad. I would consider watching that. Good morning. Well, Patrick, to be completely honest, I was actually looking into AMD last night. And so when you say why is the stock struggling, the stock isn't really struggling. I mean, if you look at it over the course of what was that, what, 1, 2, 3, over the course of 4 days, right? The stock went up 20, 21%, right? From 28 to 35, a high of almost 36, the stock went up 27%. So the stock's really not struggling, right? If you look at AMD over the course of the year, let's see, it's 2018, the stock is currently up, 122%. So the stock isn't struggling by any means. It's been failing to really push over kind of that whole $34 mark, but that makes sense because the $34 mark is the 52-week high, so that is resistance, so that it, to see the stock struggling at that price, it all makes sense. So I wouldn't really say the stock's struggling. I would say that you're just hitting, if you're looking at it over the course of like yesterday and maybe into today, then yeah, it's hitting short-term resistance and it's starting to kind of sell down a little bit, but that is to be anticipated. That should be happening, right? Yeah, we can go over the SPY. Can you check Zillow? Is there such thing as a doji squeeze candle? Not really. A doji is just a doji, right? If you look at a doji is going to be a doji. And a squeeze candle is going to be a candle that squeezes out short sellers. So a squeeze could follow a doji, etc., but not particularly, no. RKDA, if you're following along with, I mean, we could look at the chart, but there's really almost no reason, I think. If you look at RKDA today, you're probably going to want to be a seller more than you're going to want to be a buyer today. There might be, it could still move higher, but I would say the likelihood we really see this have a solid trending bullish day is probably pretty unlikely. So far this morning, the dips are getting bought, and it's still actually into a relatively good bullish formation. But for myself, I probably won't even trade it. It's really not a good trader. Right? If you look at it on, was that Friday? Friday there was one good move. That was it. Right there. That was the one really solid move it had. Then it had a couple dips in here that were tradable, but then you could see the stock got very, very choppy, short squeezy, panic selling. And when stocks become like that, I mean, really, they're not that much fun to day trade. Right? Like look at in here. You could have been dip buying this whole area. You probably would have got stopped out, stopped out, stopped out, stopped out, stopped out, stopped. I mean, it's really ugly. Not something I'm probably interested in trading. Just based on the way it traded Friday, it's like I wouldn't want to put myself in a situation to trade something that looks that shitty throughout the day today, right? But if it starts to trend nicely or there is a good setup, then yeah, I might take it. But I kind of fear we're just going to get an ugly trading day on RKDA. But it's still worth watching. It is worth watching, but I just wouldn't get your hopes high for RKDA today. Yeah, 1 second. I mean, yeah, you could look at doing puts on RKDA. I never trade options on penny stocks because the spread difference between the bid and the ask on all your options is going to be so outrageous that the only way you're really going to be able to buy into the penny stock is if you pay on the really high side of the spread from the market maker, and then when you go to sell it, you need an absolutely dramatic, significant move within your favor to at least bring the bid offer price up to where you entered, allowing you to get out above your entry price, which then makes it extremely hard. So again, I don't trade options on low volume options or big spread options. They're just, to me, aren't worth it and aren't very fun to trade. More risk than there is reward in that. Yep, I'll take a look at Zillow. Give me a second here. Or something was on my mind. Yeah, the market. Well, we can touch on the market real fast too. Really not too much to talk about here unless something significant happens. So we could just be looking at a small dead cat bounce day, or not day, but basically the way I'd put it is markets moved up, it filled its gap as we anticipated right here. We talked about last week. So market moves up, fills its gap. and now we're kind of on more of a move down. Let me zoom out here. I don't want to say a move down, but we bounced up. We had our short squeeze day right here. Now it's kind of getting sold into a little bit. This here broke its bullish formation, right? This would have been an inverse head and shoulders pattern that played out, but it broke down the left shoulder. So it's no longer a bullish inverse head and shoulders pattern within this formation. So we're trending down. We're most likely going to see, I wouldn't be surprised to SPY down to 288 today, at least test kind of this previous breakout level. But yeah, if it's a dead cat bounce, you could expect we're going to roll over and probably test 282 again. If it truly is a dead cat bounce, you'll see it roll over, test 282, fail, break, and then we'd be coming down to 273. But again, you need some significant selling pressure to make that move happen, and you need less optimism to keep the market going. So I do believe we're in the situation where we're in a little bit of a dead cat bounce, possibly. The best way to look at it is pretty much below 288 is going to be a sell, and pretty much above 293 it's a buy, right? That's the way you look at it. That's the market there for now. Over this over that 293 you're in a buy. Below 288 level you're into a sell, and the reason being, if you go over the course of the past 5 days, you're going to see the 293 is going to be the top. And then, what did I say, 288? 288 here, it was the previous resistance, right? Resistance, resistance, down, resistance, over, squeeze, long, right? So coming down to support, support, support till it breaks, then you're into a short play, which would most likely go down towards 282 to test this low point, and then to bounce there for 1 or 2 days. And if we break that 282, then you're going to go down and you're going to test this low point here at 277. And if you break that, then God knows whatever else happens. So that's the way I always look at it, right? You always kind of pinpoint the significant areas over the course of the past few days, and you truly are going to know exactly how the thing's going to move once it starts to break or go through some of these significant levels, whether that's up or down. Thoughts on gold today? Don't really have on thoughts on gold for the day. Again, when I'm looking at, then again, it's different, right? I guess it's different for everybody. Gold isn't something I day trade, so again, what it does on the day to day, I'm really not concerned with. Gold for me is a play where it's looking out a couple years, so I'd say strongly, if you can't vision gold as a long-term thing, then it's probably best just to leave it alone, because there's really no purpose in worrying about what gold does on a day-to-day basis, because the amount of money or the amount of value that it moves in any given day isn't really that much. So it's not something you'd want to day trade. So if you don't want to day trade it, then focusing on it for just a day isn't going to truly bring too much value to it. But if you can vision it for long term, that's where I'd say you'd be at with gold. So for me, if you're looking at anything gold related, precious metals related, it should be in the view of a long-term investment, at least a couple years, just because that's the way you go about it. Because you can find better things to day trade rather than gold in a certain day. For me, gold, I don't know. I would say it's probably going to consolidate, maybe hold. If you look at the chart's still bullish. Also get GLDs. For me, GLD, it's just, right, we're in a consolidation. Gold market right now is in consolidation. So expect just a rally, right, until it starts to break out. That's just basically, it's not in a formation where it looks like it's totally going to break out or break down. And that's just it. You got to get below 140s to break down, and you got to get above, basically 142.50 to break up. Now we will take a look at, what was that, Zillow? That was earnings report from the other day. I would hold on. Yeah, Zillow's not really at any true support. It's arguable that you could be seeing on like a 5-day chart a small bullish divergence. I probably wouldn't play that. I'd probably remain short bias and watch Zillow for a short trade today. Up, fail, pull back up, curl. Yeah, I'd watch Zillow short bias today. Good morning from Japan. Why don't know. I have no idea. Some do, some don't. Really, it's up to them. I couldn't tell you why they do or don't. It's their business and their how they want to run it, so it's really up to them. Yeah, so you're not going to be able to short RKDA with TD Ameritrade unless you borrow unless you get on their hard to borrow list, which basically means I think you have to have a $250,000 account or something like that, or have to keep at least $250,000 in your account at one time, I believe is what they told me a long time ago. You could get shares of short through Trade Zero, maybe even Lightspeed, maybe Interactive Brokers. So TD Ameritrade, as a broker, isn't really designed around shorting penny stock. So basically, if you ever want to short a penny stock, you're going to want to go with a more interactive broker. In order to short the penny stock, you're usually going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay a location fee for shorts, which is all bullshit. By the way, it's a scam. That's pretty much that's bullshit. So you're gonna have to pay locate fees for the shorts that you want to borrow in order to short the stock. If you're taking position sizes of 1,000 to 3,000, you could expect that you're going to pay, a couple $100, $100, $200 in the locate fees on top of the commission for actually trading it. So just to get yourself involved in a short trade on one of those penny stocks, you're usually going to pay a couple $100 up front, depending on how much size you take. And then if you lose on that position and then you want to reshort it, then you're going to have to pay another fee to locate shares as short. So when it comes to shorting one of those penny stocks and you're having to pay locate fees, you want to really make sure that when you're shorting, it is the for sure correct time to short, because you're not just paying the commission to trade, you're paying the locate fee for the shorts to trade it short, which can be expensive. So if you're wrong and then you want to get in again, you're going to be paying a lot of money to do so. So again, just because penny stocks naturally fail 90% of the time doesn't really guarantee that you're going to be great at trading them, because you still have to pick point the right time. You have to spend more money than you normally would for trading. So again, you have to pick your poison and decide whether or not it's a good idea for you to do it. I do trade options sometimes. Dan Lee, so generally the way I go about swing trading is I really only want to swing trade something if the setup to me is just so blatantly obvious that I feel like I can't lose money on it. Let me rephrase that. The times I swing trade are only when stocks are hitting a significant high point at resistance, or they're hitting a significant low point on support and I buy the absolute low as the stock has been beaten down. I tend not to swing trade stocks as they've already moved and they're going up, and I tend not to swing short stocks as they've already been going down. The only time I'll swing trade a stock like OSTK after the move's already been going is if the setup looks blatantly obvious to the point where I feel I cannot really lose on the trade, which that's why I bought OSTK after it had already moved however many points to the upside, right? That was a situation where the setup was strong, the earnings were good. I think I could get away with buying high in that move and still make money. So again, when do I swing trade? Only when stocks have been beaten down to their absolute low. For example, NSP. Look at this stock. That's something I'm interested in possibly swing trading. Why? Because it just dropped from 144 all the way down to 94. There's money to be made on that when it bounces. So where do you think I'm going to buy the bounce? Probably around 86. So if we get down to 86, I'm probably just going to buy it. I'm not going to wait for it to kind of, well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to hope to see a little bit of green, but I'm not going to sit there on my hands and wait for every single little signal and thing to line up to go, this is the trade. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come in around $86 and I'm going to become the support for the stock that the stock needs. I'm not going to wait for other people to build support. I'm going to be the support on the stock at 86. So if we get to 86 and we start to look like it's trying to hold the level, I'll probably just get long, because if we start to break down 86, I can easily get out very quickly. Right? It would be worse to try and get long here when there's really no true structural support, because then you have down to 85 before it could bounce. So if you get long here, then really you're going to have to risk down to your nearest structured system, because if it comes down, it could bounce and then go higher, right? But if you get in here at 86, right, and it breaks a little bit, that's fine. Breaks a little bit more, that's fine. But if it keeps going, then you know you're wrong, right? So anyways, that's the situation. Or like here, ILMN, another one. Stock was at 380. Right now it's at 294. Like, that's a big drop. This is something I'm interested in swing trading, right? Because that's a big significant decrease in value. Same thing that we've seen with Intel, INTC. Again, look at this drop, drop, drop. That's a solid bounce. Nice swing trading opportunity on that. I can't think of any more off the top of my head right now. Or what was it, 3M? Like, 3M's a good example of one, right? Like, look at this. Big drop, big drop, big drop, solid bounce. This one kind of dropped further than I anticipated, but again, just getting absolutely annihilated. Then it bounces from 159 all the way to a high of 187, right? So those are what I look for in swing trades like this. Bounces up, rolls all the way over into previous support. Good swing trading opportunity, right? Something like that. Or like this, stock bounces all the way up, swing short, right off of resistance here, right? That's a solid bounce into resistance, right? I'm not waiting for like a bound, so you have to be willing to get in right away at the tips and at the bottoms to make the most profit there. Why not trade options more often? No particular reason. I mean, there's nothing about them. I don't know. Just don't. You're better off selling premium. You're better off writing options than you are buying options. Because that's just it. Like, options aren't really, I mean, if, in reality, options aren't really meant, they're not, I mean, I don't want to say that they're not meant for trading, but really they're best to use as a hedge against portfolio positions and write to people willing to trade them. Because if you're willing to trade options or willing to take risk, more oftentimes than not, the trader's going to lose. So if you can become the person that's writing the options, and you're writing it to somebody who is going to lose 90% of the time, which means you'll win, in theory, 90% of the time, kind of. So in a situation with options, you're better off being an option writer than you are in terms, a lot of times, being an option holder, if it's in regards to trading and day trading and swing trading kind of thing. Robert, that doesn't apply. How much of my portfolio would I leave in GLD long? It doesn't. Again, that's a question that is impossible to answer, right? Because what I do is going to be different from what you do, and what you do will be different from what somebody else does. You'd be just fine leaving 100% of your position in GLD. How do I know so? I don't know. Have you looked at the price of gold over the course of however many years? I mean, it's never like fully crashed, and gold is gold. So until someone deems gold completely useless throughout the entire world, then you're always going to have money. Gold will never truly, it can't go out of business, right? So you can never truly lose all of your money in gold until the world deems gold completely useless and pointless. Then you'd lose your money. So until that day, I mean, You really can't lose any money. For example, think about Venezuela, right? So like a couple years, and I don't know the exact dates, but so we'll just kind of ballpark the dates and the time frame to a simple manner, right? But if you think about Venezuela and their economic condition, and how much inflation went up and how much everybody's money is worth, it's basically worth nothing. So let's say before things really, really, really got bad in Venezuela, you had $10 million, okay? And you held on to that $10 million throughout Venezuela's really, really, really bad economic condition. Your $10 million would be worth like nothing. It might be worth 100, 200, 500, 1,000, 20,000 bucks. I don't know. I have to do the rate, but your 10 million would have dropped to below a 1 million easily, far below 1 million probably. So you went from being a multimillionaire to no longer a multimillionaire. But if you would have taken your $10 million and just bought gold, right? If you would have taken your 10 million in Venezuela dollars and bought gold, you'd still be worth 10 million. If you would have taken your $10 million in Venezuela money and bought Bitcoin or bought some type of cryptocurrency, you'd probably still have roughly $10 million. But since you held on to your fiat currency, which is generally backed by nothing, it's just bullshit, scam currency that's manipulated by governments, then you all now have nothing. When you choose to store your money in things that have true value, the likelihood you lose your money is far less. So again, is it safer to have $100 million worth of US dollars in cash or $100 million in gold? $100 million in gold. Is it better to buy gold or is it better to buy cryptocurrency? Up for debate. It's arguable. I would say that there is a future in cryptocurrency, but which cryptocurrency? It's just like picking a stock. How did you know Amazon was going to be the best? You didn't. Right? You have no idea. So you could play the game of trying to find which cryptocurrency is going to be the best, or you could take a smarter, I don't want to say smarter, but you could take an easier approach to just investing in gold, because gold is going to generally go up, but more likely than not, if cryptocurrency does become fully adopted, whether it's from our country or another country or globally, there has to be something that backs the cryptocurrency, which would more likely than not be gold. So rather than trying to find which cryptocurrency makes the most sense, I can just go to what I know is going to be directly tied to what cryptocurrency makes the most sense, and that's generally going to be precious metals or gold. So that's kind of my outlook on that whole scenario. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I do have to get back to our trading group. Again, feel free to join us. Go look in the description of the video. We got a couple links there. A lot of cool things on our website. You can get some cool I don't want to say scans, but you can get some cool custom studies that most people don't have for MACD. You can get volume studies. You can get some couple cool overlays for your charts. You can join our trading group. A lot of cool stuff. Check out the description if it's your first time joining us. And other than that, I will see you guys tomorrow morning for another stream. All right, guys, everybody take care. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.